𝐒𝐮𝐧𝐝𝐚𝐲, a very good morning to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Welcome to the weekly Sunday Pūjā in Unison and Dhamma Sharing Online, an initiative of Theravada Buddhist Council of Malaysia. It is certainly good to see you once again on this online platform. We would like to extend a great welcome to all new viewers to this channel. Today is December 14, 2025. I shall now pass the mic to Sister Chu Kang to begin today's puja by reading the offerings in English. Over to you, Sister Chu Kang.
Thank you, Sister Doris. 𝐶𝐾𝐻 and good morning to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. And it has always been a very happy morning when we are able to gather for our regular Sunday Pūjā, which is hosted by MSBS and supported by TBCM. Before we begin our puja, let's compose our mind to reflect on the significance of the offerings that we are going to offer virtually to our noble master, the Buddha. Offerings of lights. May we offer these candles burning brightly out of deep respect and veneration to our enlightened master, the Buddha. May these lights symbolically guide us to the light of the Dhamma, which dispels the darkness of greed with the light of generosity, the gloominess of hatred with the light of love, and the darkness of ignorance with the light of wisdom, through the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Offering of joss sticks and incense. May we offer these joss sticks and incense out of deep respect and veneration to our blessed master, the Buddha. May the fragrance of these joss sticks and incense be pleasing unto the gods and devas. May our good deeds be like the fragrance of these joss sticks, cultivating compassion, patience, tolerance, understanding, and love towards all living beings. Offering of water. May we offer this clean and clear water to symbolize our aspiration to cultivate the virtues of calmness, clarity, and purity. Let it remind us to diligently cleanse ourselves of our spiritual defilement and delusion through the cultivation of generosity, compassion, and wisdom. Offering of flowers. These flowers too we offer out of deep respect and gratitude to our compassionate master, the Buddha. These flowers, sweet, beautiful, and choice, are clustered at the feet of our noble master. Beautiful as they are now, they will soon, with passing of time, wilt and fade and be cast away. Reflecting thus on this very nature of unsatisfactoriness, impermanence, and soullessness, let us tread the path shown by the Buddha for the eradication of suffering here and now. Now, let us commence our Sunday Pūjā by giving our salutation to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha by saying sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saraṇaṃ gacchāmi. Dhammang saranang gacchāmi. Sanghang saranang gacchāmi. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kāmesu micchāchāra veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musāvāda veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Surameraya macca pamadatthāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Itipiso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho viccacarana sampanno sukato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manussanang buddho bhagavati. Swakato bhagavata dhammo santittiko akaliko ehipassiko opanayiko paccattāṃ veditappo viññūhīti. Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Ujupatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Nyāyapatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Samicipatipanno bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Yadidang cattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala Esa bhagavato sāvaka saṅgho Āhuneyo Pāhuneyo Dakhineyo Anjalikaraniyo Anuttarang puññaketang lokasati.
Vandami cetiyang sabbang sappatthānesu patittitang sāririkadhātu mahābodhiṃ buddha rupang sakalang saddha yassa mule nisinnova sabbari vijayang akha patto sabban yutang sattha Vande Bodhipadapang ime ete mahabodhi lokanatena pujita ahang pite namassami bodhi raja namattute ganna sarappaditena dipena tamadang sina Tilokadipang sambuddhang pujayami tamonudang ganda sambara yuttena dupena hang sugandina pujaye pujaniyang tang puja bhajana muttamang adivasetu no bante Phaniyang parikapitang anukampang upadaya patiganhatu muttamang adivasetu no bante bojanang parikapitang anukampang upadaya patiganhatu muttamang tamang adivase tu no bante gilana paccaya imang anukampang upadaya patiganha tu muttamang Vannaganda guno petang etang kusuma santating pujayami munindassa siri pada saroruhe pujemi buddhang kusumena nena punyena metena cahotu mokkang puppang milayati yatha idang me kayo tathayati vinasa bawang akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chiram rakkantu lokasasanang akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chiram rakhantu desanang akasattha ca bummattha devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chiram rakhantu mamparanti devo vassatu kalena sasampatti hetu ca pito bhavatu loko ca raja bhavatu dhammiko idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo imina punya kammena Mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yavanibbana pattiya kayena vacha cittena pamadena maya katang accayang kamame bante puripanya tathagata kayena vacha cittena pamadena maya katang accayang kamame dhamma sandittika akhalika kayena vacha cittena pamadena maya katang accayang kamame sangga supatipanna anuttara karaniya matta kusalena yantang santang padang abisamecca sakko uju ca suju ca suvaco ca semudu anatimani santos sakko ca subaro ca appakicco ca sallahu kavutti Santindriyo ca nipakho ca appagabbo kulesu ananugiddo naca kuddang samacare kinci yena vinyo pare upavadeyum sukino va kemino hontu sabbe satta pavantu sukitatta ye 𝐾𝐡𝐴𝐻𝐿 bhutatti tasava thavarava anavasesa digava ye mahantava majjima rassaka nukatula dittava yeva aditta ye ca dure vasanti avidure Bhuta vasambhave siva sabbe satta bhavantu sukhitatta naparo param nikubbeta nanti manye takatta cinam kanci biaro sana patigasanya nanyamanya sedukka micceya mata yatani yang putang ayusa eka putta manurakke evampi sabbabhutesu manasang bhavaye aparimanang mettan ca sabbalokasming manasang bhavaye aparimanang uddang ado catiriyan ca asang badang averang asapattang tittang caram nisinova Sayano ya vatassa vigata middo etang satim aditteya brahmametang viharang idamahu dittin ca anupagamma silava dassanena sampanno kame suvineya gedang nahidja tu baseyang punareti etena satcha vajjena suttite hotu sabbada etena satcha vajjena suttite hotu sabbada etena satcha vajjena suttite hotu sabbada. By this declaration of the truth, may you be safe at all times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much, Brother Chukang, for today's puja. Now let us welcome Brother Dd Seng Huat to begin his Dhamma sharing. Brother Go, please be invited.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Thank you, Sister Doris and Sister Chukang. Okay, let me just flash the slides. Can you close the slides, Doris?
Yeah, close already.
Close it, yeah. Okay, all right, wonderful. Okay, before I begin this morning session sharing today, let's pay homage to the Buddha first. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Okay, my topic this morning, brothers and sisters in Dhamma, my topic this morning is managing self-expectation. I've chosen this topic because I realized that many of us actually are not happy because things that we expect, we didn't get it fulfilled. Okay, it could be towards another person, towards ourselves, towards things that happens in the world. So question here is that how do we manage this self-expectation? Because very often they're not meeting it will make us very unhappy. But even if we meet it, if we don't know how to manage ourselves, we also become unhappy. So in both situations, because of our mind, the way we work, the mind will proliferate into something else. For example, if you get an increment, we say, increment not good enough. We get a promotion, the increment is not so good, or bonus is not so good. So as a human being, we're never happy. For example, if we expect our spouse to be behaving like this, and she or he doesn't behave that way, we also get very upset. All right. So that's basically the reason why I've chosen this particular topic. Okay, let's look at introduction to expectation. So it goes back to when we were babies. You remember when we were babies, what do babies do to survive? They cry, right? So when baby cry, what do we do as a parents? Two things happen. Either we fed them if they're hungry, or if they wet their pampers, or when they're not feeling well. But generally, when we when we suit their needs, then they'll keep quiet. All right. So this is the beginning of what we call an initial perception. This is the experience that the baby encounter when they were still babies. And you'll be surprised that this so-called experience or initial perception will be carried on and on and on until today, right? Okay. Then as we grow older, all right, as the toddler cry when they don't have enough. Okay, you give them something, they want more, and if they don't get what they want, they will cry. Okay, especially for example, toddler who are interested in, say for example, ice cream, and we didn't get what he wants, or he didn't get what the type of ice cream he wants, he will cry. All right, or in some cases, he or she will also cry because when the little toddler is angry or sad, so they will cry. And of course, they cry because they're not happy with it. There are a lot of hatred and anger in them. Of course, they cannot express themselves. And of course, the third one here is they cry because delusion. One cannot get one third. So because they've been trained since baby that crying is a strategy. A strategy to get what they want. And as you grow older, they use the same strategy. But as you know, as we grow older, we can't always get what we want, because that's not the way how the world works. Okay, but that is how human perception will be developed. Okay, then what happened? Well, as I said, that they will have the first taste of perception, right? And then first taste of conditionality. Perception basically means to say the experience that they've gone through, and that experience will be kept in their so-called their semi-conscious and subconscious mind. All right. So there's a first perception. I cry, I get something else. All right. So that's basically the strategy they use. And then also the first phase of conditionality. If I want something, I must do something. All right. So in this case here, if I want attention, if I cannot speak, I will cry. And of course, if it is a toddler or if it is people who can speak, they will also do something to get attention. It could be shouting, it could be singing, it could be doing funny act, just to get the attention of the other people. So that's basically the first stage of conditionality. And then you develop into expectation. So you know that when certain thing happen, you do certain thing and you expect certain thing to be fulfilled. All right. So for example, you work very hard, you think you work very hard, and in your mind, you have been working with the company for like 3 years, 4 years, and what do you expect? You expect a promotion. And that is normal. So you expect a promotion because you know that you have worked hard and you know that you deserve a promotion. Okay, so that's basically the expectation. Of course, the question here is that if you get it, what happened? If you don't get it, what happened? Right? So let's look at how what the Buddha taught us to manage our so-called expectation or perception. From perceptions, you got expectation. Perception is something that you experience based on the past. If you look at the five aggregates, the first one is basically rupa, which is our physical self. The second one is feeling. The third one is perception. The perceptions are basically experiences, and of course, the third one is the fourth one is basically sankhara or mental formation, and the fifth one is consciousness. Without consciousness, you can't have any perception and expectation. So it must be consciousness of the various six senses that we have. Okay. Now, so we develop further as we grow adults, more expectation. So as I said just now, as an adult, you work very hard, you expect more pay, you expect more bonuses, promotion, and you expect to work with nice bosses and good food, etc. But unfortunately, we are living in a very challenging world. Sometimes those that we expect, we don't get it. Okay, we don't get it. And then this will actually create further perception. Okay, what happens if we get it? What happens if we don't get it? And what happens? And then we will then plan our what do you call it? Our behavior towards whatever that we receive based on the experience that we have. And then when we create more future perception, we will have more expectation. You see? So we are basically caught in the vicious cycle. Say for example now, if I work in a company for 3 years, I didn't get a promotion. Of course, what do I feel? I feel very disappointed. And what do? Well, there are two things I can do. I can approach the boss and tell the boss, I think I deserve promotion. Or two, I said, okay, if this company doesn't recognize my talent, my skills, my professions, I will apply for a job in another company. And of course, if that person, receive a new job offer from the other company, then that becomes an experience, that becomes expectation, that becomes a perception based on past experience. So he said that if I cannot get what I want, I do something. This is actually part of conditionality. Yeah? I do something so that I will get what I want. Okay? And then what happened here is that you join the new company, you have more expectation. Then the new company give you better salary only for a while only. After 1 or 2 years, you realize that the bonus in that new company is not as good as the earlier one, even though you get more salary. So what do? You again apply for a new job, hoping that you get a better salary, better pay, and better bonuses. Okay, so this is what happened. As now our expectation becomes more complex. In short, so that's why human being, if you know how to manage it, it's fine. Mean to say, if you know that whatever I have in the present moment, I'm just be happy, be contented, and then I think it's okay. But for many people who are very ambitious, who are very career-minded, and who focuses a lot on material wealth, like for example, more money, more wealth, then you find that they will always be craving for more and more things. Okay, and therefore, when you have situation like that, then you find that that person's self-expectation become continuously increasing, and he will continue to strive for more and more salary and better prospect. Okay. Now let's look at perception. What is perception? Okay, this is very important because in the 5 aggregates, the Buddha taught about after you have got the eye and the 6 senses in contact with the object. What you have is the first thing that happens to you is your own feeling, and then after feeling is a perception. Now what is then is perception. Perception is basically you label a person, things, or situation. For example, you through your experience with this X person, in the past he was nasty to you, right? Maybe after a while, 10, 15 years, you never meet him. But when you meet him, okay, in your mind, in your subconscious mind will resurface to become a conscious mind. You will continue to label the guy, oh, he's still a nasty guy, So that is a labeling of a person that you have, all right. That is always the problem. So recently I went for a health meditation retreat, and the same thing, that why we behave certain things towards certain people, because certain things and situations, because of our past encounter. And that past encounter, so long as we cannot let go, right? So long we cannot let go, we will continue to label that person as bad, good, or kind, or cruel. Okay? But even though that person you have not seen that person for the past 10, 15 years. So that is basically the label of perception, which sometimes may not be accurate. So, and that's why when you label people wrongly, you end up making wrong decision. Okay, same thing with things. Things or that you say that, for example, durian. Okay, you say 𝐼𝐸 king is good, it's tasteful, and then those days before you get to know 𝐼𝐸 king, you say D24 is good. But after tasting 𝐼𝐸 king, you say 𝐼𝐸 king is good. Then for many years you didn't. That's the last stage you have, which is 𝐼𝐸 king. Now suddenly there is a new breed of durians called the Tupai King. Tupai King and all the other what do you call it, durian breeds. So again here, your perception here is that the durian is good. It must have a taste like Musang King. It must be creamy. It must be yellow in color. It must taste sweet, or even sweet and bitter. Okay, so these are the labeling that we do with what do you call it, with our mind. The third one is the situation. Now I remember I attended a retreat in Taiping, and in one of the retreat we were supposed to observe awareness, mindfulness awareness. So as I was contemplating on the sound, suddenly I hear like a gunshot, a gunshot, and because the place that we meditated is very near to the jungle, so in my mind somebody must have shot the wild boar, because that was the perception that I have, that near the jungle and there is a gunshot. Okay, so during the interview when I spoke to my master said, oh, it's not gunshot, actually it is a firecrackers. It's just to frighten the birds, not even the wild boar. So you see, so there's a danger of perception. So sometimes when you label people, things, or situation wrongly, then you find that your decision making will also be wrong. So that's a danger of perception. But very often than not, our perception, you can't help it. We can't help it because those are basically experiences that we've gone through life, from young until today. We have got through all those experiences. So later on, we will see how do we manage that perception. And then, of course, we identify those three things: people, things, and situation, as either good, bad, success, or failure. So as I said just now, if you got a good salary, meaning to say you have performed well, good for you. And if you didn't get your promotion, means to say it's bad. Or if you get a promotion, it's successful, and you don't get a promotion, it's bad. So there's a labeling, And sometimes when you are so obsessed with this, you find that especially in the office environment where you have got two competing employees, you could be one of them, and you find that if you get it and the other person didn't get it, to you is a success for you. But if you don't get it, then it is a failure for you. So failure and success becomes a measure of the feeling that you have, and that is basically the perception that we have. We can't help it. This is something that that our mind will always create, whether you like it or not. All right. And because of all this labeling and identification, we form what we call a mental judgment based on past experience. So I'll give you an example. Dark is scary and bright is happy. Okay. And I'll give you an example also of my own personal experience. I'm very scared of snake. Okay. So when I recall back, why do I scared of snake? I look back and realize that actually many years ago when I was younger, in my house we lived in a kampong. There was a big, long, black snake with yellow stripes. Supposed to be very poisonous snake. I was very young. I was probably less than 10 years old, and we were at a bedroom, and there was these snakes in the hall. So my father took a long stick to sort of kill the snakes. So of course my mother kept on saying, don't go near, it's very poisonous, he'll bite you and you'll die. So that memory actually got stuck into my conscious mind then, and then it builds into a subconscious mind. So for many years, even up to now, you find that that perception is still there, right? So that is what happened to us as we went through experiences. Okay, and so what is the effect? What is the effect of all these perceptions and mental judgment? Of course, there are some. I'm not saying that everything else is bad, but some is good. But that good sometimes may also becomes unpleasant currently, because what you experience, which is pleasant, that means to say in the past you live in a good family, in a good house, but wealth and situation can change, and I mean, probably when you're younger, your grandfather has got wealth, and you live in a very good environment. But of course, business over a period of time can be ups and downs, and then suddenly you find that you are no longer able to live like what you did in the past. And what happened? Then you find that your expectation in the past is to live luxuriously, and now you can't afford. So that's why you find that a lot of people, especially youngsters, they try to live beyond their means. Why? Because probably one of the reasons could be peer pressure. The other one here could be in the past, they say they can live like that when they're young, everything else is given to them on a silver platter. They get what they want. But as it is now, when they are out to work on their own, they can't afford that anymore. They are on their own, you know. So that's why you find that a lot of people don't know how to manage self-expectation. They become very upset and unhappy, right? So let's look at what happened. The impact of expectation. Now, our behavior as a human being is always natural. Okay? When something happens to us, if we are not trained, our mind will always react automatically. All right? We call it mental purification. Mental purification basically means to say that if you see, say, for example, a durian, for example, you say, oh, durian basically is yellow in color. The fruit is round, has got thorns. That's how we describe durian. But the problem here is our mind is very good. Our mind will add one more. Our mind will say, oh, the durian tastes very sweet. The durian tastes very creamy. And the seed is very small. Overall, it tastes very good. So those are basically what you call mental purification. Meaning to say that the mind created more features into what you see. All right. So that's basically what you call as mental proliferations. And it could be positive, it could be negative, it could be neutral. Okay, this is our own feeling expectation. Right? So there are basically these three things. So it could be something that is good. For example, you eat durian, you like it. Nothing wrong with it, you know. You can say it's positive, but you know, it's pleasant to the feeling and the taste. Or you happen to see something or to encounter an experience where you don't like it. For example, you're caught in a traffic jam, bad traffic jam, right? So you started thinking about, oh, what happened if I'm late for a meeting? Will my boss scold me? Will I be fired? You know, those are the things that happen, right? And of course, as usual, it could also be a neutral feeling. So they're basically these three natural human reaction when you when you have expectation. It could also be when you meet the expectation, it's positive. Or it could also be neutral. You expected it to be. For example, you expected to get a salary increment of, say, 10%, and you get it, okay, fine. That's what you get. No? And of course, surprisingly, if together with a 10% increment, you also get a promotion. That becomes very positive. Or alternatively, you expected a promotion, but you didn't get a promotion. So that becomes negative. So that's a natural reaction of our mind, the way we work. Okay, so that's basically the impact of expectation. Now, what happened? The experience that we have, the expectation, the perception that we have in the past here is that we may end up having wrong views. Nothing changed. For example, as I said just now, the people that you meet in the past could be pleasant, unpleasant. And you know, when you meet that person again, you think nothing changed. Okay? That person who is cruel to you is continue to be cruel, and therefore your perception is wrong. Just like what I was sharing with you just now about the sound of a gunshot and turned out to be a firecrackers. So I assume that to be nothing changed. This is basically the opposite of anicca, which is basically all conditioned things are not permanent. So when you don't understand anicca, you think everything else remain permanent, then that becomes a problem. So for example, you think that you expect every day your traffic from your home to the office may take you, say, half an hour, and suddenly, for whatever reason, because of accident, because of flooding, whatever it is, suddenly on that morning itself, it becomes like 1 hour or 1.5 hours. So you find that that becomes a problem, and you cannot accept that change. If you think that nothing changed, then that will upset you. But if you understand that we are subject to anicca, everything else is always in a constant change. Even our own physical body, even ourselves. One moment we can be very happy, next moment we can be very upset, right? And of course, as we go older, we can't control even our own age. Every year we will grow older. We are coming towards the end of 2026. We are going to be 1 year older soon. Okay, so nothing will change. Times will not wait for us. And then that's one. The second one here is that because our expectation is based on our experience, and our experience is based on interaction with another person. For example, as a baby, your initial interaction is your mom, and then when you go to work, your initial interaction is with your bosses, okay, or your children, or your mother or your father, okay. And the happiness that you derive so far, the happiness that you derive are all from outside, okay. Your father gave you money to buy a new car. Your father gave you money to part payment the house deposit, okay, and your mother cook good food for you. Your mother take care of you when you're sick. Those are all happiness that you depend on others. And then your boss is nice to you, treat you for lunch today, you feel very happy. So these are all things that happens, and you tend to over rely on external factor to find happiness, okay. Well, actually happiness, a true happiness comes from within, all right. And of course, the third one here is I'm in control of myself. I can control myself, but that's again wrong view, right? Even the way you think, the action that you do, they're all conditionality. They're all subject to conditions. Whatever you say, whatever you do, whatever you think, it is not, it is not because of something that just pop up, but it is a condition attached to it, okay? So for example, if you get a promotion, not because of anything, because the boss feel that you deserve it. All right. Similarly, if you don't get a promotion, the boss thinks that you don't deserve it. So it doesn't come in a situation whereby one day the boss decided that, one day the company decided you'll be promoted. There is only somebody who actually plays a role in your in your own welfare. So I'm in control of myself is also another fallacy to say that you're in control. No, you are not in control, basically. You are not in control of your own sickness. You are not in control of your old age. Okay? You are not even in control in the moment-to-moment changes that happen within you. So you are not in control. So basically, the opposite of I'm in control of myself here is that basically you are not in control. Or we call it anatta. Anatta. And of course, the three wrong views here we're talking about, the first one nothing change is anicca. Actually, everything else they're subject to conditions are not permanent. So they are always in a constant, constant change. And happiness from outside, we're always seeking happiness from outside, and that's why we end up having dukkha. Okay, so anicca, dukkha, and anatta, I'm in control of myself, which is also another fallacy. You are not in control of yourself. You think you're in control of yourself, but that is because of your own ego. But the reality of things here is that you are not in control of yourself, right? And of course, because of your wrong view, you got wrong intention. This is basically what they call the sankhara. So you pursue pleasure. You are always looking for an external pleasure to suit your ego. And then of course your intention becomes things that you don't like. You have got ill will. Ill will means to say you got intention to harm, to steal, whatever it is. And of course the other one here, intention of cruelty. You have got wrong intention. So to satisfy the external pleasure, you go all the way to, for example, killing. So people who are doing hunting, wild boar hunting, even fishing, they find pleasure. They find so much pleasure in catching the fish and shooting the wild boar. Okay, so these are basically things that you have. So because of your wrong view, you think you can seek pleasure from outside, you end up doing things that is that is not following the precepts. The 5 precepts: killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, and taking intoxicants. So these are basically the impact of your expectation. So when you cannot get what you want in life, you pursue into something that is very much external, right? Now, I just wanted to go to the next topic, which is basically understanding expectation to the 6 senses. I think this is actually part of also the Paticca Samuppada, where it talks about 6 senses. We've got 6 senses altogether: the eye, the ear, the nose, the mouth, the touch, and the mind. Okay, these are basically, all of us have this. And there are people who may not be able to see, there are people who may not be able to hear, but it doesn't matter. They all have got 5 senses, just that some are working, some are not working. And opposite of this sense object, senses, there's a sense object. So with eyes, you get to see things. With ear, you get to hear sounds. With nose, you get to smell. With mouth, you got to taste. With touch, you got the feeling. And with mind, you can think. Okay, so that's basically the sixth sense and the sense object. I think it's quite easy for you to understand that. So for us to be able to comprehend what they are, there must be contact. Contact basically means, you see, the eyes must be in contact with whatever you see. It could be, say, a building, a tree, a fruit, whatever it is. Similarly, the ears, when you're in contact, the ears contact of the sound. Could be music, could be somebody talking, could be song, whatever it is. So, but there must be a contact between the sixth sense, the ear sense, and the sense object. Similarly, with nose, you got to smell. With mouth, you got to taste. With touch, you got to feel. And with mind, you got to thought. So that's basically the first thing that happens. So what happens when you are in contact? Feeling. Feeling will always arise. Basically, feelings will always arise. And this feeling is basically the three types. They are pleasant feeling, they are unpleasant feeling, and they are neutral feeling. Okay? Which is very normal. Whether you see things, whether you hear things, you smell things, you taste things, you feel, and you thought, there's always this feeling that arises and you can't avoid it. Okay? You can't avoid it. Right? Unless your organs are not good. So for example, if your eyes, you can't see, you're blind, for example, there's no contact in this case. The sight is there, but your eyes cannot see. So effectively, there's no contact. But when there is a normal contact, the natural outcome here is you've got feeling, and then there's an outcome. Outcome is pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. And you got experience from this outcome. Okay, you got experience this outcome, pleasant experience, nice, not nice, beautiful, ugly, you like it, you dislike it, So all this outcome becomes an experience. And then from experience become perception. So this is actually part of perception that goes into your mind, into your subconscious mind. Okay, so that's basically the understanding of expectation through the six senses. Same thing again. So in this case here, the fifth one is the consciousness. So again here, as part of the five aggregate, the first one is the nama rupa, which is the six senses. The second is contact, and then you got the what you call perception, mental formation, which is the intention, and of course the last one here is consciousness. Okay, so the eye consciousness, the ear consciousness, the nose consciousness, mouth, touch, and mind, they must be in good working order. Right? If they are not conscious, then you find that you cannot have the same feeling as well. Right? You cannot have feelings. Right? So there must be consciousness. Right? So these are basically a quick summary of the the six senses, the sense object, the contact, feeling. Now, okay. So these are basically experience. Again here, when you establish a contact, you are bound to experience many things, pleasant and unpleasant things. Okay, I want to just go through with you. There are many areas, but I just pick up this particular topic, which I find is very interesting. It is called Bahiya Sutta. This is where the Buddha talk about the story of a cloth merchant. So this cloth merchant, he claims to be a religious person, and he wanted to he thought he has actually achieved, but when he sees the Buddha, then Buddha taught him this, okay, what we see versus what seeing things as they are. So our problem here is that what we see is always based on our experiences, our expectation, our perception. That's what we see currently, okay? But seeing things as they are they really? Say, for example, you look at, say, again here, these particular oranges that I took. So these oranges, when you look at it, we say, oh, this oranges is very round, beautiful skin. And based on your own experience in the past, you say, oh, this oranges is sweet. Because that's your own experience, right? So what we see is a sweet orange, because that's how our mind has conditioned ourselves to be. Because based on our own experience, this oranges is rounded, it looks like very sweet. Okay, so that's what we see. Then the Buddha said, we must look at things as they are. Now, what does he mean by that? So let's look what he says. He taught in this case, the Buddha taught Bahiya. He says what? In the scene, will be merely the seen, in the heard merely the heard, in the thought merely the thought. Later on, I'll explain to you what it means. That's part one. And part two, when you have trained this way, you won't be by that. When you are not by that, you won't be in it. When you won't be in it, you won't be in this world beyond or between the two. Just this is end of suffering. So what the Buddha taught, of course, to this cloth merchant, he has actually trained himself to up to a certain level. And the Buddha is able to sort of read his mind. And the Buddha felt that this is the only way for him to what do you call it, to progress further spiritually. So what it basically means to say here is that, coming back to these oranges here, so what the eye sees as it is here is basically, it is orange in color, we see color, and it is round in shape. Okay, that's what it is. All right, it is what round in shape. We don't add any other any other features into it. We don't add features like, oh, it's juicy, it's sweet. Those are basically what our mind will see. Because there is again here based on perception, based on experience that we have in the past. Okay, and then when the Buddha talk about when you have been trained this way, you won't be by that. Let me say, when you are trained to look at things as they are, you will not be caught by the story behind it, the features of the oranges. And when you are not by that, you won't be in that. I mean, you won't be caught in that perception to say that this oranges is sweet. You won't be caught. So your perception is basically different. The perception of what you see versus the perception of seeing things as they are will be different. The first part here, you add all the features, sweet, juicy, whatever it is. The second one, we're just looking at it as this is an oranges, it's round in shape, it's orange in color. That's all. Okay? And then when you won't be in that, you won't be in this world beyond and between the two. This is just the end of suffering. Of course, this particular sutta, the Buddha put it in a very simplistic manner, but basically this is one of the core teaching of the Buddha, to look at things as they are. And then when we talk about things as they are, this is what the Buddha meant. That when you look at things, you look at it in such a way that you don't add features and colors into it. But having said that, it doesn't mean that as a Buddhist, we must be senseless and tasteless and no feeling. It doesn't mean that way. I think in this particular context, the Buddha was teaching the cloth merchant because he has that mental state where he's able to comprehend and reach the first level of Sotapanna. But for us, we can still sort of we can still sort of have this perception, but it's just that when we talk about managing the expectation, this is where we need to sort of train ourselves, right? So continuing on the Bahiya Sutta here, story of the cloth merchant. So again here, this particular part, I will try to explain. When we see with our senses, feeling and emotion and judgment, okay, this is normal. Again here, you either see sight, you see beautiful, you see ugly, you see neutral. All right. And then when you hear sound, you see soothing, unsoothing, or neutral, and taste, pleasant, unpleasant, odor, smell. Taste is nice or not nice, and then touch, pleasant, unpleasant. So basically, this is what we always connect our senses with. All right. And then part two, what the Buddha taught was, when we see purely with our sense, with no emotion and judgment, basically, the eye only look at colors and shape. Okay, so when you look at color and shape, it's just color, it's just shape. So in fact, in meditation, when we talk about mindful awareness, we are trained to look at just color and shape. Because the moment you add into beautiful, ugly, neutral, then it becomes so-called corrupted. Our perception becomes corrupted. Or sound, just sound. Whether it is song, whether it's somebody talking, it's just sound. And smell, just smell. Whether it's good smell, not so good smell, we don't judge. And similarly, taste, sweet, sour, bitter, these are basically the type of taste that we have, but that's all. We don't sort of add in to say that, oh, it is good or not good. And similarly, with regard to touch, it could be hot, cold, or neutral. Yeah. So that is basically what the Bahiya Sutta taught about. Okay, seeing things as they are. And I think in managing our expectation, if we can live as a normal being, but when it comes to managing it, I think we have to be a bit more objective. We have to be a bit more mindful about how we look at things and understanding that the world characteristic, anicca, dukkha, anatta. Okay, so overcoming self-expectation, in short, this is a very long topic, but I just make it summarize it. So right view and right understanding is very important, right? So when we are upset, when you look at situation that has happened to us, okay, we must investigate Dhamma, seeing things as they are. For example, coming back to the promotion again, you didn't get a promotion. So what happened? You feel very upset. Okay, then you say, ayo, I don't get promotion means that I'm quite useless lah. That means to say that I'm not good enough lah compared to my colleague. And I'm a failure lah. Alright? So you connect all the negative, negative element into your thoughts. And that is dangerous because it goes into your subconscious mind and form another new perception. But if you were to look at it differently, to say, look, it's in part and parcel of a corporate world. Right? You win some, you lose some. Okay? Or maybe the organization has got a different way of assessing whether you get promoted or not. Alright? So, but if you look at it as they are, to say that, well, I don't get promotion. That it is what it is. Right? That's the reality of it. Of course, it doesn't mean that you are pure enough not to feel upset. Yes, we will feel upset for not getting it. But let time heal by itself. Because sometimes it's easier said than done, especially when you're competing with your friends, your colleagues, and then he gets promoted and you don't get promoted. Then you find that you get very upset. Okay? Or similarly, we are upset with, for example, our spouse. The way, the way our spouse or our children behave is not pleasing to us. We get very upset about it. But if you understand that their behavior is also subject to condition, right? There's nothing to be upset about. We're all different. Situation change. Nothing is permanent. The person that you love you love him or her because of the certain characteristic, but that characteristic could also change. So you must learn to learn. You must learn to love change. Okay. So you must also learn to understand condition. Everything else that happen in this world, they're all subject to conditions. Okay. I always believe that even like, for example, having this this Dhamma sharing today is also a condition, a situation leading to the actual sharing itself. Okay? And then of course nothing is permanent. Again, I said that anicca. You don't expect things to be in the same position all the time. You don't expect things to be bad all the time. Neither do you expect things to be good all the time. So when the situation is in your favor, don't be too excited. When the situation is not in your favor, don't be too sad. Nothing is permanent as well. And of course, it is natural to be happy or unhappy. Dukkha is natural to be. It's natural to be. The only thing here is you know how to manage it. You understand anicca. Okay, you understand anicca. Nothing is permanent. Even your happiness can turn to sadness one day, and similarly, your unhappiness can become happy another day. So nothing is permanent here. And of course, you cannot control even your own body and feeling. This anatta, you can't control. You think you can control, unless you practice your meditation. You practice mindfulness meditation. Practicing mindfulness and meditation, these are very unnatural act. Unnatural act. Whatever you are feeling today is very natural. But that's why the Buddha keep on emphasizing to say that we must focus on right effort and mindfulness, because that is one area in which you are training your body to be not natural, but for a good reason. Okay, so that's why the Buddha is different from us. The Sotapanna and all the people with 4 stages of sainthood, they are different from us because they practice a lot. Okay, they practice a lot not to be naturally responsive. Naturally responsive. They are basically training to be different from the natural behavior. Okay, so that's where the next one talks about right effort and mindfulness. So it's not natural to train the mind. So you need to cultivate the mind. You need to train the mind. Train the mind what? To look at things as they are. And you need to practice mindfulness and right concentration. Okay, this one, the only way you can do it here is through meditation. And of course, there are many types of meditation. It could be anapanasati, it could be vipassana. Okay, of course, the way to practice it is you need to practice generosity, kindness, and wisdom, loving kindness and wisdom. And I find that one of the most important factor for one to be able to develop the mind is when one needs to practice generosity, number one. Number two, practice of sila. So your practice of sila will require a lot of wisdom and loving kindness. So you need to practice this. These are three things that are very, very important. If you are not generous, if your mind is full of hate, full of anger and cruelty, you find that you have got a lot of remorse in you. And we got a lot of remorse in you, it's difficult for you to develop the mind. Of course, wisdom becomes very important. It's for you to enable yourself to differentiate between what is right and what is wrong. And of course, through right view and right concentration, you will have what called a purposeful outcome. Okay, so these are basically the short sharing that I want to give this morning. Right, that's all. Thank you. Over to you, Sister Doris.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Brother Seng Huat, for today's sharing. Let us dedicate those merits that we have accrued to all beings seen or unseen. Akka Sata Chabummata Devanaga Mahiddika Punyantang Anumoditwa Chiram Rakkantu Lokasasanang Ettavata Cha Amhehi Sambatang Punya Sampadang Sabbe Deva Sabbe Bhuta Sabbe Satta Anumodantu Sappa Sampatti Siddhya Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo Idang me nyati nang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu yavanitbana pattiya. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you everyone for watching. For other videos, please visit the links below. Bye-bye for now. See you all next week.
Streaming off ready?
Off, off, off. No, no, no. It's auto, I think. This one, let me see.